A Word of Faith with Bishop Barra. In the footsteps of Abraham.
In the footstep of Abraham, because he is our father in faith. He is the one that gave us the greatest example of faith. You know, Pastor Damian, Abraham had everything to give up. He was old, their wife was barren, and he was waiting for so long. He was waiting. You know, he became a father at the age of 100 years. And he saw many people being born in his house, in his lifetime. He saw Eliezer. He saw Ismael, that was the son of a slave woman. He saw 318 men, soldiers, be born inside of his house. But himself had no son. But one thing for sure, he never gave up.
Yes, Bishop, and that is the situation of many watching right now. They've seen many others conquering the same thing that they're fighting for. Many others taking possession of what they've been dreaming of, and they are battling this thought of giving up. They're thinking that maybe their time is come and gone, maybe it's too late, maybe it's hopeless. But Bishop, just like God came through for Abraham, He will come through for the one that trusts in Him.
That's why we are doing this campaign of Israel. In the face of Abraham, in the footstep of Abraham. Maybe you say, why going to Israel? Why not just pray here? You pray here every morning. Yes, I do. But when we go to the promised land, we go to take possession of what God has prepared. I know by praying here, praying in the church, on the altar, God does answer. However, the campaign is for something greater. It's to complete your life. It's for you to have a life that you never had before. That's why we go to the Holy Land.
Why take your prayer request to the Holy Land? Because Israel is a land that was promised to Abraham. It is called the Promised Land. Happen in Israel, such as the fire came down, the Red Sea was opened, Jesus resurrected, the lame walked. The sun stood still. The walls of Jericho fell down, and many more. That's why we're going to this land. The same miracles that happen in this holy land will happen in your life.
And we have been in Israel, Mount Sinai, Mount Carmel, Temple of Solomon, but this time we are going to pray for the first time at the gate of Herod. Let us read now what the scripture talks about Abraham. It says, not being weak in the faith, Abraham did not doubt. He did not consider his own body already dead, since he was about 100 years old, and the deadness of Sarah's womb. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, giving glory to God. Your life has to give glory to God. Your life has to give glory to God. Do not be weak in your faith. You know, Pastor Damian, Paul Fleshner came to us and he was lost. Though he is a doctor, he was depressed, he had a lot of problems, but through the campaign of Israel, through his faith and his sacrifice, God did complete his life.
Yes, Bishop. I mean, he had lost family. He had lost a relationship. He was down. He felt like though he had possessions, he was an unhappy man, incomplete, like Abraham. But through faith, through doing something that even seemed crazy, he saw a drastic change in his life.
Obedience. Faith.
Was the door that made Abraham
courage. sacrifice. Campaign of Israel at the Gate of Haran.
My life was incomplete because I was living in the world. I was taught that if I acquired the things of the world, a good career, money, a good relationship, I would have it all. I would do well, I would acquire things, I would make some gains, but then something would always happen to take it away or to make it more difficult. And so I never really established myself in business. I did well, but then it would be taken away, and I'd have to do it again. So it became kind of like a gerbil wheel that I felt like I was on, always running and running and running, but not really getting anywhere. I think the most painful moment in my life was when I was going through my divorce and when I realized that my marriage had failed, because I never really envisioned myself being a single dad or being divorced. I came to the church about 7.5 years ago. My now wife brought me to the church, and I learned about tithe, and I learned about how to put God first, and I learned that it takes sacrifice to get God's attention. So when the campaign came along, it was an opportunity for me to say, all right, I was in some tough situation financially in my business, and I was really at a point where I was ready to surrender anyway. My life had gotten to a point where it just was not the way I wanted it. And the campaign came along and I said, okay, God, I give up. I surrender. I'm gonna do it. God has done so many things in my life since that day. Well, first of all, He removed the stresses that I used to feel, the anxiety, the sadness, the ups and downs of life, if you will. He removed it. He put peace inside of me. I felt, even though I was putting myself in a certain sort of financial situation, I really felt at peace. And it was funny because sometimes I had a lot of money and I didn't feel at peace, but when I was sacrificing, I got peace, number one. Number two, my marriage has become so much stronger because not only did I let go of the money and the financial sacrifice I made, I also let go of my old ways. I let go of being angry and trying to do things my own way and really not being a very nice person from time to time. People found it hard to deal with me, so including my wife. So I gave up my old ways, my old self, and it strengthened my marriage. It made it really beautiful. And my kids look at me differently. And so through that, many blessings have come. But my business is thriving. I have a group of aesthetic skincare clinics called SkinMD. And we had 4 clinics, which were struggling. Last year, our business grew by 60%. This year, it's up 30%, and we're now opening 2 new clinics. So we're gonna have 6 by the end of the year. Financially speaking, I have more money than I've ever had. My tithe now is more than I used to make, and I used to do pretty well as a doctor. So, there've been so many blessings, it's hard to count. I think my life now in every way glorifies God. And not only did I gain all of the material blessings that I've ever wanted, really, and it continues to grow because I live now from sacrifice to sacrifice. That was the first one. But each time there's a campaign, each time there's a chance for me to show God that He's the number one in my life, I show Him more and more and more. And the more I show Him, the more blessings I get. But I don't do it now to get more blessings. I do it now to glorify God, to show God, I'm here for you. I'm truly your servant. Use me how you want to use me. My advice for people is to take a chance. When you really think about it, you have nothing to lose. You think you have something to lose at first because we kind of cling to our life the way it is. We cling to whatever little things we have. But God has a much bigger vision for you. And unless you truly surrender and sacrifice and let it go, you'll never know what it is. You'll never know. And that would be the saddest thing. I think if I never did it, if I never made that leap of faith, so to speak, I tell you, my life would be just where it was years ago and probably worse. And so I would tell people, test God, give it a shot. You will not be disappointed. God will not forsake you. He didn't forsake me. He won't forsake you.
Campaign of Israel at the Gate of Haran.
You are going to request an envelope. We are showing testimony not for you to follow what he did, but for you to learn how to participate. Call this number, request this envelope, and you are going to send it back to me. I'm going to receive your prayer request and also your vow of sacrifice, because your sacrifice, your vow of sacrifice will for sure bless your life. Get out of your country. Get out of your old life for a new life, the promised land. These are the ways on how to participate. Make a vow. In the same way he did his part, do yours. Let me put your life, your dream, your problems, your situation inside of this luggage and take you, your life, to the gates of Haran, and from there, God will take you to the promised land.
How do you participate of the Campaign of Israel? First, make the decision of putting an end to your problems through faith. Second, write down on paper your prayer request, determining that God will make happen in your life everything you wrote down. Third, send your prayer request together with your vow of sacrifice. You can make a check or money order under the name of the Universal Church and mail it to 7075 Southwest Freeway, Houston, Texas 77074. For more information, you can call us at 1-888-691-2291.